Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. I'm the man here that has it all, that keeps it all cooking. Wood, first of all, definitely appreciate all of the recent new subscribers, all of the feedback. Definitely always appreciate and respect that. You know, the time that it takes to, type out a few your thoughts and let me know, what your opinion is on it. So definitely appreciate that. Um, some sports and entertainment this time, actually, not any boxing. Although that's what I'm sitting here checking out. The Canelo versus Alvarez prelims. So, but I had to touch base on some of my favorite guys, man. We got a new Gangstar album this week. It was a bit unexpected in a way, based on the earlier information that I had. But it's called One of the Best Yet. I want to say it's 15 tracks on there, maybe three interludes or something. So it brings it down to, it brings it down to 10 or 11 tracks. It's a quick listen, as is, what's consistent with today's hip hop. So let's jump into it. I listened to it the first time and I skipped the two singles. Loyalty and Family and Bad Name. I skipped both of those and listened to it, and I was just like, okay, this is vintage Gangstar. I love it. Premiere's dope. It's it's amazing to be hearing Guru here in 2019. Like, whoever thought you would hear that? And from what I can tell, most of it sounds like unreleased material, unreleased verses. I really and I listen to the catalog here and there, with stuff, Gangstar Radio or shuffling, music and different songs come on. But it's been a long time since I just sat and listened to two or three Gangstar albums, you know, front to back, song after song. And I couldn't find these lyrics anywhere. Every once in a while, I would hear something, and I would think that might be from such and such project, but I don't know. It sounded like all unreleased stuff to me. So, like I said, I listened to it the first time through, and I was like, okay, I like it. Um, okay. Today I had some time and I went back and listened to it with the two singles. I listened to it in its entirety as it's sequenced, and I thought, man, this is a pretty dope project. Um, it's still very 90s. It's still traditional East Coast. Um, I will say that if you take off Bad Name and Family Loyalty and Family, um, keeping it a buck. I hope I'm talking to other Gangstar fans. I don't know if we really get that overwhelming, that dope, that raw primo song that really is why we love DJ Premier. I don't know if, and this is coming off of the heels of the two Prime albums where he murdered both of those projects. Like I said, there just weren't many tracks that really just had me in my Gangstar bag, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just you get a full of an LP from this, all helmed by DJ Premier, and you really want to you really looking for that thing, that sound. And I don't know if you get it here outside of the two singles. I just don't. But like I said, man, listening to it the second time with the two singles in it, it's a pretty dope project. I made some notes. Lights Out, I believe, is the second song with m.o.p. M.O.P. does what M.O.P. does. Hearing them with Guru is pretty dope. Um, it's more of an animated Guru on the track, which we don't really hear a whole often. But I thought his energy matched well with Billy Dan's and Lil Fang. Um, Bad Name, obviously, I believe is maybe the third song. Guru's verses are pretty. His verses on this joint really are kind of like the highlights for Gangstar of this project for me. And one dope thing about Guru, man, is that he's regularly standing up for the best of what hip hop was intended to be. He's always talking about the culture, defending the culture, voicing his expectations for anybody that's gonna make money from the culture or be active in the culture. I thought his verses on Bad Name were just apropos, even 10 years after him passing away. So Bad Name is a dope joint. What's Real? Royce is featured on here. I think with the group home. A little disappointed not to get a verse from what's my man's name? Lil Dap. I think Lil Dap is in the chorus, but I don't think we get a real verse from Dap or Malachi. But What's Real is a pretty slick joint, and I think Royce's verse really it really kind of it really gives you the feel for how rap has changed. How the older school, maybe the early '90s flow has evolved and is done now. Um, it's one of Royce's verse on here is one of the highlights of the project, in my opinion. One of the big four, which would be Guru's verse here on Bad Name, like I just mentioned, Royce's verse here, the J Cole verse, and then Guru and Family and Loyalty. I think those are the four major highlights of the project. So What's Real is a smash. From a distance, I thought J. Rue the Damager is the featured artist on here. J. Rue did his thing, and it's one of the better songs on the album. Next we have Family and Loyalty, which is obviously with the J. Cole. This is what set everything off, for this album and announced, that the project was forthcoming. It smashes. Get Together is a cut for the ladies. It was good to see Premier kind of still doing what Gangstar, a signature part of the Gangstar albums, the catalog back in the day was songs for the women, and addressing relationships and whatnot. So it was kind of dope to hear this done again on this project. And I think it's a challenge, for Premier to find the right kind of sample to make a song that's meant to cover, that's meant to be the backdrop to that type of subject matter. Neo is kind of indicative of how dope or how well respected Gangstar is, that you can get an artist like Neo to come and sing the verse. And just nothing dissimilar to the getting Casey and JoJo for royalty. You wouldn't have thought to put those two together, but Premier might have made that happen. That might have been who he envisioned being on the song, and he went and made it happen. And so shout out to Neo for contributing to the project. And obviously, I'm sure when he got contacted about it, he knew what was at stake here. Nitty Scott is the female that's featured on that song. I've been seeing Nitty Scott's name for like 4 to 6 years, maybe. A decent feature. I mean, she plays off of Guru pretty well. There's an interlude that's after Get Together. It's something about the streets, 183rd or something. I thought it was Big Shug talking. Maybe it's not him, but it's somebody that's just paying homage to Gangstar and saying that he appreciates what these two dudes did coming to the city, being from out of town. But one of my new favorite sayings is that the brother said he was getting money in the streets, and then he said something about I'm from the outside, like I'm a savage basically. But that was his code for how he said it was I'm from the outside. I'm a wild brother. I'm doing my thing, or I used to be doing my thing, and I just thought that was very interesting. I'm from outside. I thought that was dope. The next cut that's on here is another one of my favorite artists in the last 10 years, Talib Kweli. He's on Business or Art. Business or Art is another standout cut on here. Again, Guru is representing for the culture and taking a stance, on anybody bringing shame to the game. Um, and then also Take Flight, I think is the penultimate song. Shout out to my man Moro Ronaldo on Showtime Boxing. Now, I don't think it's the closer. I think it's the next to the last song. It's called Take Flight Militia Part 4. And it features Big Shug and Freddie Fox, who do that thing alongside Guru. And, that's pretty much it, man. I would be interested to hear what, fans, longtime fans of Gangstar think about the project. Like I said, man, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's like 9 joints that I dug or I liked. So you get a project, with that many decent songs on it. That means that it had to be a solid LP or a good LP. So it's tough for a dude like if you've been riding off what's going on, all of the different waves in boxing the last several years, and you see where the game is, and then to step back and try to listen and appreciate taking a dude like Guru, who is really a straightforward rapper. He's an A to B guy. Um, it's his perspective on the world. Um, there's one song earlier in the album. It might be Lights Out. Guru has about 7 or 8 bars in a row that all rhyme together, and and he changes up the flow while he's doing it, and that's like the most off script or off message that you will hear Guru get. He's not a very flashy guy in that regard, but he is always very thoughtful. Like I said, he's always going to deal with relationships. He's relationships, male female, and then male male or crew relationships as well. He's always going to delve into those types of things, and then he's going to give some commentary on the streets and the struggle. And so, like I said, to take that in and try to give a guy like Guru, an MC, a rapper like Guru, some time and respect where he's coming from, that might be a bit of a challenge for today's listeners and today's older listeners who have grown accustomed to what you're being fed right now. You might struggle to really. Some might struggle to really give Guru his flowers, his praise and credit and everything. But like I said, man, in my heart of hearts, as a dude who's bought like 5, 6, 7 Gangstar albums, this is not meant to be disrespectful at all, man. It's just there was always some samples or some the way a track was produced, that just blew your effing mind. And I just don't know if we really got that type of song on here. If me and you were two Gangstar fans for 20 years, and we were gonna call each other the day after this dropped, I think that would be kind of a fair comment for us to have, in private. I'm giving it to you here. There are a couple songs that are produced nicely. Business or Art, I think, is some dope production. Take Flight is pretty solid. Some different sounds on the cut with Nitty Scott. But like I said, outside of family and loyalty, and then the bad name, I just don't know if I really heard that song that was just brilliant. And this is a guy who has raised the bar, exceptionally. I mean, it's tall for him to live up to what he's done. One last note before I get out of here is the fact that along I mentioned some of the guys who just came through and dropped the chorus or something. I don't know what's going on with Q-Tip, and that's Q-Tip is like my dude, but he's on the cut. Hey, something gunman, a shootout, something hitman or something, and he just does the hook. And I don't know, man. It was a little disappointing for me, to be honest, man. The the uh, the magnitude of this project. I would have liked to have seen something commit from him for anybody who was going to be associated with it. I really would have appreciated you really buying in and delivering your best. And it just seems like I don't know, man. Some of the stuff recently from Q-Tip, who's kind of a laid back dude and a different, and an eccentric dude in some ways, maybe an introverted guy in some ways, a perfectionist, a renowned perfectionist. It just seems like he might be going through a period where it's hard for him to really commit to what it takes right now, to do something next level in hip hop. That's just from a guy that's rocked with him since '92 or something. So I don't know, man. But for to come in and do that, the chorus and the I don't know, man. That didn't sit too well with me. It wasn't a plus. Notice how I skipped over it. It wasn't a plus for me. I didn't even mention that song as one of the ones that I'm calling out. But anyway, man, enjoy the project. It's great that that DJ Premier was able to get this thing done. It's dope for today's listeners, and those of us who've been rocking with Gangstar for the last 20 something years. It's phenomenal, like I said, to hear Guru, gifted unlimited rhymes universal Keith Elam. They had his son on here in the interlude. And like I said, man, the two singles really solidify the album as a a regular release, a regular project. So that's that, man. If you got some thoughts, if you agree with me, disagree with me, like I said, man, I'm speaking my mind based on how my reaction to the project, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to some guys that I really have been fond of, like I said, man, since '89 or something. So that's that, man. Let me get on out of here. Pay me no mind. Sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. One.